Jack, I want to talk about a campaign that I'm building at the moment, and I'd like to get your take on it. Um, it's
What do we got,
called
Jeremy?
downsale, which basically means I come under a certain angle, and if that angle doesn't work, I try to, you know, do a small twist and actually propose something that is easier to say yes to, which is
Hmm.
basically, when you go on those landing pages or those sales pages, you get one big offer, and then it's like, and then you click on, if you don't really want this big thing, there's still, a PDF or whatever that you can get for just $5 or whatever, right?
Right. Or like the pricing page that has like the premium cost
Hmm.
this, but then like the starter is so small and it's just
Yeah,
this.
exactly. And I was
Hmm.
thinking, can we actually apply that um, to cold outreach? And so, just to give you a brief overview of what the campaign I'm thinking of building is, I want to go on podcasts, and I'm thinking, how about I reach out to the people, the podcaster, yada yada yada, normal stuff, but I say maybe as a follow up on, hey, if that doesn't work, can I maybe sponsor your podcast? Right. And so
There you
that's a
go.
sort of like, oh, that's an easier say to say yes, as a follow up. So you start with right away, can I go on your podcast? And then you sort of
Yeah.
like say, after all, if that doesn't work, or if I don't hear anything, how about I actually pay you for,
There you go.
sponsoring quick mail,
There
whatever.
you go. And
What do you think?
the order is important,
Yeah, sure.
correct? Right. So I think psychologists call this the door in the face technique, where you ask for something atrocious that you know is going to get a negative answer.
Hey, it's
No.
just me going on podcast. It's not so atrocious, right? Is it?
No, that's not necessarily what I'm saying. Like the initial difficult ask almost anchors the next ask so that, oh, compared to the first, this one seems a lot more doable. I'm going to go for it. I think this has legs, Jeremy, and I'm just curious if the smart way to do it is bake it into the same email as a PS so that they can see
Oh.
both offers together, or if we follow up after. I think there's pros and cons to each.
Yeah, it could be. That makes me think as well. But the offer is pretty radically different that I don't think it's in one. So here is another example that makes me think when you're thinking of a PS, is when you reach out with SEO and you say, hey, can you insert my link here? And then
Yeah.
PS, happy to compensate you with some money. It's not like,
Yeah.
it's like more like you're holding your cards, right? So I'm holding all my cards and I'm,
Yes.
playing them differently. Here it's not like I'm playing different, more cards. It's just like, okay, well, here's another game. Do you want to play this other game
There you
instead?
go. I
Right?
see.
So
So
that's why I'm thinking it could be better for a follow-up in
so
this case.
so here's how you build the A/B test for this to
Oh yeah.
find out for sure. Okay. Version 1 is you have two steps. Step 1 is, can I be a guest on your show? Step 2 is, happy to sponsor your show at the very least. Right? Something like that. Then the B version is, right away you ask to sponsor the show and you just compare which one gets more yeses to the show sponsor. Do you
Yeah,
see
but
what I'm saying?
I don't want to sponsor it if I can just
No,
go
I
on the show
know.
for free.
I know. I know.
Where
I
are
know.
you?
That's so
What's
true.
that,
But
Jack?
to get the answer of this, what do we call this? The downsell.
Right.
I think
Oh,
that
I
will tell
see.
us if it actually works. If there's something at play that increases the odds, right?
I see.
Now, okay, so then given the fact that the end game is to get on as many shows as possible with as minimal sponsorships as possible, then yes, the two parts definitely make sense. Um, it definitely makes sense. But I still think there's other ways to apply this where there's no money exchanging hands. Maybe
Okay.
think like typical SDR outreach. I wonder if you want to explore that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love that. How about we
Okay.
brainstorm about like a typical offering that we receive every day in our inbox and see how can we pivot
There
to
you
have
go.
like a second
Okay.
thing.
Here's a simple one, Jeremy.
Right. Oh, we forgot the timer. I'm sorry.
We
I
did.
just
That's
put it.
okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna jump for
That's true.
hours.
While you get the timer, uh, Quick word from our sponsors. Quickmail.com is going to hook you up with the cold email outreach infrastructure you need to inbox and get the replies. Salesbread.com will do everything for you and send you 1 lead per day using ultra personalized outreach that you'd be proud to send yourself. Okay, so let's carry on. We've got a timer. Now, how about this for the downsell in a traditional SDR outreach?
Okay.
Let's imagine call to action 1 is book a call with me.
Book a call, of course.
There you go. Downsell 2
connect on LinkedIn.
That's good, but even easier. I want it to be a little bit more of an ask.
Okay.
What if we said we can set up a call, or reply yes, and I'll send you more details. I'll send you, a quick Loom video on how this applies, or with, explaining further.
Okay. So more info, PDF, sales resource, right?
That's right. One is easier to say yes to than the other.
Oh, I see what you mean. So this one is more, I have multiple ways to communicate with you. Either we book a call, but if you prefer to read, I got also a brochure or some stuff like that, right? Is it more that idea?
But I'm curious if presenting the call, even like let's up it, like a 30-minute call, or just reply 3 letters and I'll get you
the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah,
is that the same tactic here?
I think so. It's almost like I know what you're doing here. You're actually just substituting. Yeah, you do one for the other, right? So you go from a high commitment CTA to a low commitment CTA, right? And it's kind of like,
that's right.
For us in our book, it's kind of like 101. If you don't get reply, let's just lower the CTA and then think like, are we getting more reply or not? Like, was that the ask is too big? Like, did we not earn their trust yet? Or
are we taking the appropriate first step? Right.
Yeah. Here I will more think, can we actually pivot and offer something else as a downsell?
Yes, I got it. I got it. Okay, let's try this.
Okay, cool.
20-minute call.
Right.
Or I'll just set you up with a trial account, 30-day, extended trial account. Give me the best email to do that for.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. Or we've been seeing that for a while. Book a call, or who is the best person in your team to talk about? That's sometimes that happens, right?
Yeah. So, okay. So then I think what we need to answer is, does it make the message stronger by presenting both? Or is it just the same if one email says this and then, you know what I mean? Like, does the order matter? Like, I feel like it does. And I feel like the order should be stronger CTA than lower CTA.
Imagine the other way around. It's like, hey, do you want something simple? And then it's like, okay, let's make it like, how about 3 hours call with us, right? How about you fly and come and see us? It's just like,
yeah, that's true.
That probably wouldn't fly.
When you say it like that, it's actually pretty obvious that your CTA would take a back step every touch, right? The only exception is if you're revisiting this prospect 3 months later to see if anything's changed this quarter, right? Which at that point, I would imagine it would be appropriate to move to a call, or at least see if one is worthwhile. Do you agree?
Yeah. What about this one in 3 months' time? Hey, I know it's a bit short notice, but can I drop by your office for 10 minutes next week? I'm in your, in the neighborhood.
Interesting. And would that go CTA 1? Like, that's the first thing the message presents.
Oh, the first thing is like, hey, can we book a call or something like that?
But don't you feel like an in-person meeting is a stronger ask?
But here's the thing. It's actually more effort for me to come and see you. You know what I mean? So it's a sort of
reciprocity.
Yeah. That's where I'm thinking. So the call to this time we actually pivoted to a different type. It's like, I'm actually,
interesting.
I'm valuing your stuff. It's like, hey, can I pay you to go on a call with you? kind of thing.
That's interesting, Jeremy. It's funny. Only until right now, I just realized that one of our recent campaigns used this exact thing. Message one was, I'm actually in your neighborhood, and we would like drop in the actual neighborhood, not just like the city, but the really local dialect, right? We're actually in this area next week. Would be great to drop by, buy a coffee, and then the next message says, if you prefer, happy to send over a short Zoom or phone call invite instead. And that actually worked really nicely. We got a lot more people, Jeremy, saying yes to the phone Zoom invite. And it may be that we prepped them with this reciprocity. We're in the
Yeah, it
same
could
area.
be.
I'm willing to come see
Yeah,
you.
and they feel bad to say no to that. That's interesting. I would love to do an A/B testing with that. Like you actually just
Mm-hmm.
reverse it and see which one is performing best. Like, you know,
I think we know
I'm
if you
not
lead with the
sure.
local. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But if you actually come as a second one with the local, maybe they'll feel bad to say no to someone who make the effort to come. Where the first one seems opportunistic. It's like, hey, I'm in your area. I want to talk to
Right.
people. Can I
Might as
drop by?
well.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well. But if you do it the other way around, as in like, hey, you're trying to have a genuine conversation with this person, they say no or they don't reply, but then you say, hey, I do happen to be here. I still want to talk to you. It's like what I call like, polite persistence. I really love
There you
that. So,
go.
so I'm not 100% sure which one will perform better. Like, I think both could be argued. You have to run an A/B testing and let
I
us know, Jack.
think you're probably right, but then there must be some limitation here. Imagine that the offices are a flight apart and there is no mutual business in either city. It would be too much to say I'm willing to fly over there, right? I remember Darren Montel was on our show saying he would send outreach messages that were like, hey, going to be in Boston sometime next month, meeting with founders. Do you want in if we set up a dinner? And he would only book the flight if he got enough yeses to those emails,
Yeah,
meaning he
sure.
did not say, if you agree, if enough of you agree, I'll fly over there. So there's some tact involved. You don't and cannot try and be too eager. I think then we kind of put our guard up, like, wow, this is too much.
Okay.
So, but for me, I'm going, let's do the local card and then back up with the Zoom. But you're saying it would be interesting to test starting with a Zoom call and then saying, hey, really think there's something interesting here,
Yeah.
willing to head over to insert neighborhood.
Yeah, or I thought about you, like,
Mm,
because I'm going there, I know you're around, I still really want to talk to you. Does that actually make
mm,
sense? And them saying no to that may actually be more difficult. So maybe they'll say, no, I won't be available, but I'm okay to jump on a Zoom
yeah.
call, whatever.
Okay. So what's the takeaway here? Because I feel like we covered a bit of ground, and yet the SDR or the entrepreneur who's listening may be looking for some hardcore advice. Do we? Yeah, let's kind of just spell out one good idea to test. Perhaps let's leave the listener with that.
Well, I think there is like two interesting thing. I mean, we talked about the different variation that you can bring, vertical or horizontal. In a sense, vertical is like higher CTA to lower CTA.
In
Horizontal is you go
person.
different
Yeah.
offer to one offer to another offer. Or you could even say like sideways, like even like three dimensions. Like one is like the
Yeah.
same type of offer, like differently
All
presented.
right.
The
Let me
other
break
one
it
is like a
down.
completely different one, right? So you
It's
got like three
good.
dimensions.
So vertical being in-person meeting, Zoom meeting.
Right.
Horizontal being quick demo call or free extended account access that they could try it.
Um,
All right, then help me out. What's horizontal?
I'm thinking the first one is intensity. Vertical is like, it requires more effort, less effort, but in the end, it's always the same thing you're asking, right? So
I
in
see.
person
A
or
meeting.
Zoom is the same. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a meeting. The second one, or the last one will be a completely different offer. Like, hey, you know, um, can we go on a call or can you sponsor our events? Like completely different thing, right? So it's like, oh
Nice,
yeah, I'm taking
nice.
something completely different. And the horizontal, I'm more thinking, well, maybe that's the horizontal, but I was like thinking, you still want to obtain the same thing under a different way. So that was effectively either, we go in person or or a Zoom call. We're still sort of like getting a meeting, but it's
Yeah,
it's not
sure,
quite the
sure.
same format. So it's like a different format, you see what I mean? So
Makes sense.
so one is hard ask, low ask, the other one is different format, and the other one is different offer.
There you
Yeah.
go. So,
But
so basically, test the order
yeah, order.
and order of your CTAs and play around with the intensity or the we'll call it a
Variations.
horizontal
Yeah.
variation of your CTA. Interesting. I love
Not
that. All
just the
right, it's
three dimensions.
actionable.
Mm.
Uh, okay, it's worth a test. If you're listening this far, check out course.quickmail.io. It will be the podcast, but a lot deeper in terms of getting you to where the best cold email agencies are. Internally, give it to a salesperson. If they're new at your company, turn them into a cold email pro in short order.
8 weeks.
Course.quickmail.io.
There you go.
In 8 weeks. Perfect. All right, Jeremy. See you next
Thanks,
time.
Jack. Bye.